We have more breaking news this evening. The Stanley Cup may have just been awarded, but now we know that Alex Merulo, the owner of the Arizona Coyotes, is stepping away and abandoning plans to bring back the team. We'll discuss what happened coming up next. Welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, the Stanley Cup may have just been awarded a short time ago, but we've got another big news story breaking here late this evening. We found out from Craig Morgan, who's been the lead go-to reporter on this story, really for the Coyotes for a long time, and all of their arena issues and team issues and everything over the years. Really, even though the Coyotes are theoretically gone, he's still covering this team and doing a heck of a job breaking news here. So Morgan's reporting that essentially Alex Merulo is abandoning plans to continue trying to get an NHL arena built to bring back to Arizona Coyotes. So the Arizona Coyotes 2.0 that was hoping to return as an expansion franchise in the next 5 years will not be happening, at least not under the ownership of Alex Merulo. However, with him walking away, it's believed that the NHL will be able to speak with other ownership groups and see if they can't figure out a way to make this market work with different owners in place. So essentially, just to give a quick backstory here in case you're not following along, there was supposed to be a land auction coming up later this week on June 27th. Alex Merulo has been stating for a long time now, back to the early part of this year, that they were going to go to this land auction. They had to apply to be applicants, put forth their building plans, etc. And we're going to buy a massive piece of land. I think it was close to 100 acres. And they were going to build the future home of the Arizona Coyotes. Of course, that's going to take a long time. There's a lot of infrastructure that's needed there. It's raw land right now. There's long ways from like water and sewage and everything like that. It's a big project. It's going to take a really long time. It's going to be very expensive. So, of course, Gary Bettman and the NHL did not want to have them playing at Mullet Arena for another 3 to 5 years. They've already been there for a few years as it is. So they basically sold the assets of the Coyotes to Ryan Smith's group, and it became the new Utah franchise that we have now in the NHL. Will debut this fall. The Coyotes were still theoretically owned by Alex Merulo, at least in name and trademarks only, and he was supposed to be continuing to work on this arena and bringing them back as an expansion franchise. He was going to have first rights to be able to do that. So, of course, we found out just in the last couple of days that the land auction for June 27th was canceled. Arizona State Land Department has canceled the auction, and they've recommended to Alex Merulo before he moved forth with this auction that he needs to get a special permit because of some zoning issues. Now, the statement they originally put out saying they were going to seek legal action and that they were blindsided, basically, even though really a lot of people and all that follow this story, been reporting on this story, and anybody you speak to politically in the area have known for several months that they were going to need to have some zoning stuff done, that it was not zoned properly. They had indicated that there was zoning in place for an arena, but it's believed that the current zoning as it is, it was set for like a small venue. We're talking like an arena that could host like youth sports or something that might seat a couple of thousand people, not NHL size, 17, 18,000 seat arena with a mega complex of housing and entertainment, shopping, etc. all around it. And so they had a lot of obstacles to overcome here besides trying to buy the land, but to go through all those zoning things. And the Coyotes acted like they were blindsided by this. They should have known this. And it's believed that they did know back as late as like December, January. They should have had a zoning attorney looking after this and working on this, and they did not. Which is mind-boggling. Some of the local politicians have even spoken up, or people that have people that have spoken up, not all actively in politics there, but enough of them have said that they have not negotiated in good faith, that they're bad actors and that they're not fun to deal with. And these guys are not well liked. And we had found out earlier today that the American Hockey League team of the Arizona Coyotes, which is now supposed to be the affiliate for the Utah franchise, the Tucson Roadrunners, had previously had an arrangement to play some games in Mullet Arena in Tempe. And then we found out earlier tonight that that's been canceled. They're not doing that now. All home games in Tucson. And I honestly think that that's part of this as well. And because that news story just indicated, all it said was because of the Arizona State Land Department canceling the land auction, that was happening. So that just seemed a little weird, but okay. That made me wonder at that point, I wonder if Merulo is going to walk away from this. And now we have it. And I wonder if Craig Morgan I wouldn't be shocked to find out that he knew this earlier in the night. He just waited out of respect for all the other teams and not trying to steer the media here into covering this, that they waited till after the cup was awarded to make the breaking news announcement. So essentially, I mean, he's made out quite well financially. I mean, really, if you think about what the NHL paid him to get this team over to Ryan Smith, he made a handsome profit here, like somewhere in that $500+ million range. He was basically given $1 billion. Like, he didn't pay anywhere near that for when he took ownership himself. Of course, he would have had to pay that $1 billion back to the league as an expansion fee if he would have continued and got the arena built and reactivated them as an expansion franchise down the road. But that's not happening. So Merulo is done. So the report from Craig Morgan says that they're not going to be pursuing any other arena developments. That after this arousal here of the zoning issues have been proposed, the land auction basically is suspended indefinitely, and doesn't seem like they want to go through with all the issues trying to go through the zoning hurdles. They're not confident they're going to get what they need, clearly. Because like I said, he's got political opposition because they don't do business in a way that makes people want to work with them. They had issues in the past with not paying bills on time. They've had issues just in how they negotiate and how they deal with people. They've not made any friends in the area. And I just don't think the locals want this guy involved. I know the fan base lately seems to be all wanting him to go. How he deals with people, it's just absolutely atrocious. The toxic work environment reports that we've heard in the last couple of years, just amazing. I know at one point there was a quote from Merulo speaking to, I can't remember who he was talking to. It was just somebody locally and that worked in the organization. It's like, yeah, you haven't dealt with a billionaire before, have you? Just like, you might have lots of money, but you have no people skills. You obviously made your money in a completely different way here, nothing to do with pro sports, and you don't know what you're doing in this venture. You really don't. Like the missteps that they've had and how they dealt with the people, it's just completely insane. They need to go, and thankfully he is going. So belief is that after everything that happened with the zoning, they were looking at some other options as backups. I think there was one in Mesa, and there was another one I think might have been on reservation land. But on the reservation land, they would not be able to own the land outright. It'd have to work out like a long-term lease. In Mesa, I think there was part of it was going to end up, there was a good chance it was going to have to be rezoned and go through a public inquiry with likely a referendum again. So there's no confidence. They want to avoid referendums because they know they're probably not going to get the sport to win. So at the end of the day, this has been something that's a long time coming. When everything was announced and they moved the Coyotes to Utah and everything was announced that Merulo was going to have 5 years, I did not have a lot of faith that it was going to work out. But I did not think this quickly before we even get to the auction that the auction would be canceled and he would be walking away. I didn't see that coming. I thought we'd watch this play out for a year or two and eventually we'd find out, he's not going to get it done, and then they'll go find another owner and try to see if they can make it work another way. But I really honestly have to wonder the original intentions. I honestly don't think that they ever intended to bring back the Coyotes. I think Merulo always intended, once it was first got to him to sell the team and everything was worked out, I think his intentions for some time now has been, okay, if I have to sell the team, I will. And I think he's been done, checked out ever since. I had concerns that he was even going to show up to the auction. Well, we don't even have to get there now because it's canceled, right? So at the end of the day, like when they put out this statement about the being upset that the auction was canceled, they never put any verbiage in there to indicate that We're still trying. We're going to figure out everything we can to make this work. We're still committed to getting an arena built. We're still committed to buying land. There was nothing of that in that statement, and I think it was intentional because they don't have the intentions. They didn't have it then. They don't have it now. Merulo was leaving, so I know Bill Daly was already asked about this one at the time when everything was kind of going down originally with the sale. He was asked, what happens if Merulo decides that he's walking away? And he said, well, the market becomes up for grabs like any other place that's looking for an expansion team in the NHL. So he can take his money and he can go off into the sunset and go work in another industry, do something that he might be good at instead of pro sports, and sayonara, Alex. And take Junior with you. He, from what we've heard, Alex Jr. is not fun to deal with, creating a big part of the toxic work environment from what we've heard as well. So we'll see how quickly the NHL confirms all this. I don't know. Obviously, like we know that they don't like to, take the spotlight away from the Stanley Cup and the playoffs and all the big news stories that are going to be coming out here this week with the draft coming up, and we're going to get lots of trades. It's a very busy time. So we'll see when that becomes. But the article from Craig Morgan does also indicate that they've been told by multiple sources that there is a couple of other interested ownership groups. So they already know of other groups that are interested in maybe being owners for the Arizona Coyotes 2.0. So we'll see. I mean, it's a big market. We know the NHL wants to make it work there, but we need the right ownership group. We need the right arena in the right area, right situation, and it can probably thrive. But they're going to be awfully careful, I think, going back. It's going to be some time. But I wonder, we know there's already groups in Atlanta pushing forth, designing arenas, buying land, etc. So we know that they're more than ready and pushing the NHL to open the expansion process. Utah was doing the same. Now they got the old Coyotes. There's an arena sitting empty. Well, not completely empty because they do have a junior team, but Quebec City's ready to roll. I don't know if they're going to get a team. They seem to always get overlooked. And there's other markets. There's Houston, of course. I heard some rumblings about New Orleans. I don't know about that. Not sure that would be a successful area for them, but there's teams that are going to be added to this league. I have no doubt. The NHL will expand. Just a matter of how many and how quickly. But I think we'll probably get to 36 eventually. Might take 10 years, but we'll get there eventually. So let me know your thoughts on Merulo being out in Arizona. Do you think this team can return in the right, if the right arena is built in the right location with the right ownership group? Let me know your thoughts on that and everything that's gone down with this crazy soap opera that's been the Arizona Coyotes under the ownership of Alex Merulo. Fortunately for everybody involved, it seems to be like that tenure is coming to a close. Just a matter of how quickly the NHL confirms and how quickly they start talking to other potential interested ownership groups about bringing back the franchise. We'll see, and we'll talk about this further once we know more information. Again, it's late. The Stanley Cup just came out tonight. Congratulations again to the Florida Panthers. Lots of other big news stories today. We had a major trade involving the Bruins and the Senators right before puck drop, and now we get this story breaking right after the Cup's awarded. It's been a ridiculous day. So, let me know your comments. I'm going to go to bed. I'll catch up with you all tomorrow. All kinds of content coming. Talk to you later next time.